I am looking at a letter to a syndicated advice columnist named Cassandra. As in, Dear Cassandra. And the outrageous selfishness of the letter writer I'm about to read to you is breathtaking. It's stunning. It's outrageous. And I'm willing to believe there are women listening right now who will be able to relate to this idiot. Starts off well enough. The letter to Cassandra begins, Dear Cassandra, I've been married for 10 years. And my husband and I have a beautiful child together. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Married 10 years, beautiful child, all of them together. Isn't that nice? Then you see where it goes from here. For the past 7 years, I've been having an on-again, off-again, on-again relationship with my soulmate. We met right after I was married and clicked instantly. My husband is a good provider, a trustworthy man, and a good father. I think I married him for those reasons, in that order. I do love my husband, but not as a wife should love her husband. My husband is a homebody and needs prodding just to go out to dinner. Well, that's a problem, darling. Why'd you marry him? Why'd you marry him? If that's a problem, why did you marry this guy? She goes on to say, we have nothing in common. We are complete opposites. And, she says, I knew this before we got married. So you hear what she's saying? She married this guy knowing they had nothing in common, but he was a good provider. There you have Poindexter right there. Perfect description of Poindexter. The good provider, the trustworthy man, the good father, but he's boring. He's a homebody. He wants to be home all the time. Of course, you selfish bitch. A guy who is a good provider, trustworthy, and a good father wants to be at home with his family. That's where he wants to be. But that's too boring for you. By the way, I have somebody in my family who did exactly this. She married a guy, had a kid with him, and said he was boring. Why was he boring? Oh, nothing. He was reliable, dependable, a good parent. Showed up at home on time every night. You never had to wonder where he was or what he was doing. There was no drama. He went to work and came home night after night after night like clockwork. And the person in my family, and she knows who she is, who dumped this guy. She didn't dump him because he was a cheater, a player. Quite the contrary. He was anything but. He was boring. So she dumped him for a slug. A guy who'd filed for bankruptcy, lazy, sat on the couch, honey, get me a beer. One of these guys. He was far more entertaining. With the arguments and the abuse and everything, it was much more interesting than the bland, boring guy who all he did was reliably bring home his paycheck, showed up on time every night, was a good dad, loved his kid. Who needs somebody boring like that? So do I have an axe to grind when I read a letter to an advice column like this? You bet I do. Why would you marry someone with whom you have nothing in common? Somebody with whom you are a complete opposite. If you like to go out to dinner and he doesn't like going out to dinner, why don't you go find somebody else? Because you wanted somebody to pay the bills. You wanted that reliable person to be there. Do what they reliably do while you go off and try to find somebody interesting and not necessarily dependable. Her letter continues. She says, my soulmate and I have lots in common, from traveling to music as well as other interests. I see myself having more children with him and growing old together. I want to leave my husband, as my soulmate wants that too. I am so confused. And this whole idea that there is a soulmate. You know, if there's a soulmate and you believe in soulmates, why did you marry somebody who was not your soulmate? Why couldn't you wait? Why did you have to get married? Why were you so desperate to get married, you selfish bitch? Why? Cassandra's response. Generally, these advice columns, I don't read the response from the author of the column, but in this case, I will. The response says, Dear Confused, Cassandra already knows that many readers will disagree with her, but she'll say it anyway. It's time to quit the charade and release your husband from a loveless marriage, for his sake as well as your own. Even though you knew at the time of marriage that you were marrying your husband because he was a good provider, and some would say you made your bed, now lie in it, you've suffered long enough. Yeah, you've suffered long enough. Yeah, screwing around with some guy on the side while you're married to your reliable, dependable, good provider husband. You've been suffering. Jesus. Cassandra goes on to say, marrying the right person is what we all strive to do. You found out after the fact that your husband was the wrong guy. No, that's not what she said. She knew this before she married him. She said it in the next to last paragraph of her letter. She knew he was the wrong guy, but she married him anyway. Cassandra says you've struggled with the secret for a long time, and both you and your husband deserve to enjoy true happiness. You have lived a life of lies, which isn't being true to who you are, nor does your marriage have a solid foundation, which should be built on honesty and a deep love for one another. It will not improve at this point. It will just become more suffocating. Well, that's true. In fact, really, marriage, the first 6 months, that's as good as it ever gets. Does not get better with time, despite what they tell you. And it says here, if you want more children with your soulmate, how much longer are you going to wait to make the move? If he's the man that you see yourself growing old with, then you owe to your husband the time to find someone who will love him in old age the same way. Sure, it'd probably collect alimony from him, too, while you're at it, since he's such a good provider. God damn, I hate women like this. Since your soulmate has waited for 7 years and has not abandoned the idea of you being together, he is clearly committed to you. Yeah, what a great guy, too. Somebody who will screw around with somebody else's wife. There's a man of morality and integrity. Fantastic. Says here, the road to marital bliss with him will not be without pain and difficulty as you file for divorce. But once you are married and you are legitimately together, your life will be in sync and no longer confused, frustrated, or a lie. Pisses me off. This letter, this column pisses me off. If it's so important for you to have a goddamn soulmate, then don't be marrying and then later disappointing the good guys out there who are good providers, who do show up on time every night. The guys who are trustworthy. This lying bitch has the nerve to say she married her husband because he's trustworthy. And come on, is there really such a thing as a soulmate? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Dr. Neil Clark Warren aside, I don't believe that. I don't care if you have 29 levels of compatibility. I just don't believe there's such a thing as a soulmate. It's stupid. The whole idea is stupid. This whole letter just pisses me off, and the response pisses me off just as much. Do you disagree?
Tom Leykis, 1-800-5800-866.
I don't care what any commercial or man or eHarmony.com guy will tell you. Tom Leykis knows all.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. It all started with a letter to an advice columnist in the Chicago suburbs named Cassandra about the woman who was married for 10 years, has a beautiful child. But she says for the past 7 years she's been having an on-again, off-again relationship with her soulmate. Perry on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, it's Perry. You put me on hold, you know.
What?
You put me on hold.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on a second there. It's the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. This is Perry on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
Great.
11-year listener now.
Couldn't tell.
I just wanted to say the worst thing about this poor guy, although he's going to get his heart broken, is the fact that this selfish bitch, which is a kind phrase, is going to end up taking half his money.
That's right. Because he's such a good provider.
Oh, yeah.
Let me guarantee you, by the way, the soulmate is not a good provider.
Yeah, he's a loser. What'd you say? He's a bum. He doesn't even have a job.
He's a loser with a 14-inch personality. Trust me.
Good. Well, then you can take that son of a bitch out porno music style.
All right, Perry, that's exactly what we're going to do. Here it comes. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Rebecca, hello.
Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you.
It's a real pleasure to talk to you.
I'm sure it is.
I've been listening to you for a while now.
Yes.
And, you know, I've just been wanting to talk to you for the longest time. It's always so busy, the phone lines.
Well, that's a good thing, because if you call our competition, you can get right through.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So if you want to get on the air, here's what you do. Call KTAR. They're at 92.3 FM here in, on the Phoenix radio dial. If you call in right now, I guarantee you get in on half a ring.
Oh, wow.
So next time you want to get on the air, don't bother with our station, because our phone lines are packed, because we have a huge audience. You want to call KTAR.
Okay, I'll try that next time.
Give that a shot, yes.
Great. Well, I was calling you about the lady you're talking about, the column.
Yes.
And, you know, I do agree that what she did was horrible. And, you know, I think majority of women would agree that she was in the wrong. But I also do feel this is an isolated case, and that most women wouldn't do that type of thing, and that women do value men that are good men and that don't go out all night and screw around on them.
Well, I don't agree with that. You know, like I say, somebody in my own family did this. And, you know, I see the good guys getting trampled on all the time.
Yeah, true, but don't you think also a lot of the good women attract bad men as well, and they get trampled on? It's kind of equal.
Yeah, but the difference is this woman actually has her, you know, I don't think the guys who screw around delude themselves or feel they have to believe that the other person's a soulmate. She's an F-buddy. That's all she is. And in this case, this woman wants to justify what she's doing by referring to the guy as a soulmate.
True, but maybe that's because women are wired differently. We're more emotional, or men are more...
and then, you know what? Then they need to be called on it.
Yeah, true. Well, that's another thing about alimony. I really like what you say about it because from a woman's point of view, I'm a young woman myself, and I would never want to receive alimony from someone because I find it's degrading to ourselves as women.
Great, then you wouldn't get married without a prenup, right?
I don't know if I would get married to start with.
Well, good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, because, okay, it makes us, it's like we can't make our own money. We're just mindless baby-making machines. Like, what value are we? We're just a doormat. I mean, I understand if you took 20 years out of your life to raise the kids while your husband went to work, back in the old days, but times have changed now. And now it's just very outdated concept, and we need legislation to follow that as well.
Well, I say that, if a man wants you to stay home and raise the kids, you negotiate a prenuptial agreement that says you'll get paid X dollars for doing that. And then at the end, there's no challenging it in court or anything. What you agreed to is what you get, and that's that.
Yeah, that's a great solution for everyone. Then, there's no surprises at the end. No one hating the other person because of...
yeah, but because lawyers are politicians and they run everything... they want to keep everything wide open to leave you the opportunity to sue for anything you can get. And the attorney the opportunity to bill as many hours as possible.
So why do you think, particularly in California, and I guess in Arizona as well, why do you think it's so biased, why it leans so much towards the direction of the female when it comes to that?
Because we still have this idea that women are helpless little creatures. They're helpless little flowers. They need to be protected.
But it's California. I mean, they have more modern thinking over there, don't you think?
I do believe that lawyers are politicians. And allowing women to sit there and go, I don't know if I want alimony or not. What do you think I should do? And the attorney's billing by the hour, and he'll sit there having a conversation with her forever, trying to whip her up into a frenzy.
So he takes advantage of her emotional vulnerability, as we discussed before, how women are more emotional.
Well, and by the way, lawyers should do whatever they can to make a living. But the fact is, the law is set up to take advantage of everybody's emotional vulnerability, whether they're angry or sad or whatever they are when they're going through a divorce.
Okay.
Why can't it be cut and dried? We're talking about adults here. If you sign a contract to buy a car for X amount of dollars, you don't go in later on and say, you know what? I don't want to pay $72,000 for this Lexus. I only want to pay $58,000.
True,
and then you don't go to court and discuss it.
It's a fairy tale that marriages are going to last because people aren't up to date with the statistics. That over half of them fail. So we're still, we're believing that it's an insult even to get a prenuptial in some people's eyes, but really it's just being realistic.
Well, not only is it realistic, I think there should be no contesting these things, no debating them, unless you have a case where somebody was outrageously deceived or illegally taken advantage of, just like if you were buying a car. The contract stands unless the person deceived you in some obvious way.
Yeah, you got a lemon.
You got a lemon, or, you were deceived about how much you were going to have to pay or something like that. But if you know how much you're supposed to pay, they make you pay it, and that's it. And if it's the way with buying a car, leasing a car, buying a house, why should it be that way with marriage?
True, it should be the same way.
Right.
Well, what I appreciate about you the most is, definitely, I'm a female, so of course I don't agree with everything you say. But you do bring intelligence into the mainstream, which I think our society is lacking a lot of today. So I thank you for that. Well,
that's right. I'm doing it as a public service, as you know. I hear Dean laughing from down the hallway. Sorry, it was funny. 1-800-DEAN. I don't think Dean believes that. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Yvonne on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great.
Good. I do care.
Thank you.
Real quickly, I wanted to step in on a clue why I think you're not believing the soulmate factor. One of the things I think, Tom, you're an atheist, so I have a question for you. Do you believe in us having a soul?
No, but I don't think people mean that anyway in that literal religious sense. I think what they mean by soulmate is that there is one specific person who is the right person for them. You're two birds of a feather. And it really has nothing to do with religious beliefs.
Well, see, then that's where you backdoor me into my thought, because I was going to tell you If you don't believe the fact that we have a soul, then you couldn't possibly believe in a soulmate.
Yeah, well, guess what, though? People don't literally mean soulmate.
But some do. Some do. What do you think?
Well, some believe in just about anything. So what? The vast majority of people who use that word are not thinking about the Bible when they're using it.
No, not necessarily the Bible, but the soul.
They're thinking, no. You know what they're thinking about soulmate? You like Celine Dion? I like Celine Dion. You like inhaling? I like inhaling.
Well,
you like the color red? I like the color red. That's what they're thinking.
Well, I suppose. But I wanted to touch base with that. I thought perhaps if you don't believe in souls,
they're not thinking that they're not thinking their two souls are going to meet in heaven above.
That's what I think.
I don't believe that for 1 minute. I don't believe the woman. By the way, I don't believe that the cheating bitch who wrote this letter is a religious person. Do you?
No, I don't. And I don't agree with the fact that she should go looking out for just because a marriage gets boring. I mean, if you marry someone and you're going to be with them forever, life's going to get boring here and there. You just stick around for the bumps, huh?
Well, guess what? When someone is reliable and dependable, it can be boring. Years ago, before Jaguar was owned by Ford Motor Company, Jaguars were famous. They were luxury sports cars that people bought and constantly complained about how they were breaking down. When Ford bought Jaguar, the reliability of Jaguars went up dramatically. Dramatically. And many longtime Jaguar owners said they were bored. This is what I'm talking about.
Well, I love the fact that I got through and I got to speak to you. You're one of my favorite things to do when I'm driving home, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Have a great one.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Here comes Sam on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing, my friend? It's
Great.
been a while since I talked to you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, listen, you know what? It was the first part of this letter that really got to me. She said the guy got boring after a while. And I know that you've always said that women love to change a guy. Well, that's my story right here. I was in a kick-ass band in Hollywood, early 90s. I mean, we were just on the verge of getting signed, getting the big break. I mean, we were getting MTV interest, the whole bit. I got together with her because she was the girl that every other guy in every other band wanted. And so things were good for a while. I made the mistake of marrying her. And suddenly, after marriage, dude, cut your hair. Be a provider, be a dad, whatever. We had a kid. And suddenly, all the things that I loved doing, I stopped doing. And about 2 years later, it was done. She was bored with me. She told me, dude, I don't like you with short hair anymore. I liked you when you were in your band. Like, come on, what the hell are you talking about?
Because every time they try to change you, this is a test. And you need to resist change.
My dad, I'm sorry. But
you need to resist change resolutely.
It was unbelievable, yeah. And of course, she went out. She was screwing around, and I was the provider, making the money, bringing it home, had the nice condo, the whole bit, and we did get divorced, which was fantastic, because now I'm a single guy listening to 101 and following your rules. But Jesus, man, put me through a few good years of hell.
Sorry to hear that, but I know what you're talking about. Coming up, we're going to meet a caller who says that I love to ruin people's lives. Stay right there.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Well, break it down for me.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-866.
I've been without you for 2 years, and I felt my nuts shriveling up. But because you're back, I got grapefruits, baby.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show from Hollywood. Now, 1-800-5800-TOM. We're talking about the advice column with the letter from the woman who says she's been married for 10 years and she and her husband have a beautiful child together. What she says for the past 7 years, she's been having an on-again, off-again relationship with someone she calls her soulmate, who clearly is not her husband. This is Chance on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, this is Chance.
I just said that.
Hey, man,
That was a good setup, by the way. I appreciate it. Anyways, man, I just want to get on radio to let you know I think you're running a pretty bad show, man.
It's a bad show.
Bad show all the way around. You're giving people bad advice.
Like what?
Name it. Anything you talk about, it's bad advice.
Like
you're
what?
telling people that, oh, you need to find somebody else. Maybe you're just reliving what you've done when you went through all that and you had a bad experience.
Actually, I'm not reliving it. I'm recommending that people do what I wish I did.
Oh, really?
And which I do now.
So you made your own radio show up about to come down on other people or to help them?
I made my radio show to sell advertising.
I just wanted you to know you got a bad show going on, man. Bad show.
How bad is it?
Bad enough where I know a lot of people done changed channels.
Really? And why do they change channels?
Well, they just got tired of hearing you. I mean, you know, you make yourself out to be the good guy that helps everybody when you're turning the tables and making everybody else seem like they need you to survive when they don't.
Ah, they don't need me to survive. So why are you still listening?
Oh, I'm not listening.
You're not listening?
No.
So how did you know to call in if you're not listening?
I just want to give you a little piece of what most of the listeners I feel like are around here.
But how could you do that if you're not listening?
I think you're just a selfish little pig.
How would you know what I'm doing if you're not listening?
Well, look at you. You're keeping on over a listener, and I'm actually giving you brownie points and making your stations go up.
Oh, there's no doubt, because your IQ is so low, people love listening and feeling superior to the people who call in.
Right, because you just made yourself out to be a low IQ.
I did? How did I do that?
Because you stooped down to the level of listening to people like me that really have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's clear you have no idea what's going on the air and off the air.
Right, thank you. I appreciate that. I just wanted to call you and give you a piece of my advice.
Well, and what is your advice?
Stay off the radio, man. Find another job.
Stay off the radio. Find another job. By the way, I noticed that you are listening. In fact, you're listening right now.
No, I'm not. I didn't turn the radio off. I got you on the phone.
This is the show. Right now.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Clem. Thank you. 1-800, Clem was his name, right? 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Cynthia on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello. Hello?
Hello?
Is that a question or a statement?
No, I don't know if I'm making sure I'm actually on the air now to speaking with you.
Oh, well, let me just review with you for a moment. When somebody says you're on the Tom Leykis Show, what do you think that means? Does that mean you're off the air?
First of all, let me go and stop.
Wait. Does that mean you're off the air or on the air? Which do you think that means?
I actually don't usually listen to the radio. I happen.
Well, you don't have to ever tuned into the show. If a person picks up the phone and says you're on, the key word being on, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello. Does that mean you're on the air or off the air? What do you think?
Because I kind of...
Again, until you answer this question, you're not going to get to say anything on the air. When someone answers the phone and says you're on the Tom Leykis Show, are you on the air or off the air?
Are you ready to let me finish?
Not yet, because I want an answer to that question.
Okay, don't be a rude...
No, don't tell me how to do the show. When somebody picks up the phone and says you're on the Tom Leykis Show, does that mean you're on the air or off the air? Which does it mean?
I'm on the phone with you now. My phone, I can hear you.
I know you are, but when somebody says you're on the Tom Leykis Show, does that mean you're on the air or off the air? What does it mean?
You're not on the air to educate me, so thank you.
Again, I will tell you what I'm on the air for. You will not tell me. This is my show. When someone picks up the phone and says you're on the Tom Leykis Show, does that mean you're on the air or off the air?
You're giving bad advice.
Again, you're not going to get to say anything until you answer this question. Are you ready to answer the question? Yeah, clearly you're still talking. So we'll wait until you're ready to answer the question. Let's see here. All right, are you ready to answer the question?
Positive to say.
Dare, you're going to have to answer this question. Now, I'm giving you one more chance to answer it. Then we'll take a little break here, okay? Now, are you ready to answer the question? Are you ready to answer the question?
Have you listened to anything that I've said?
No, I haven't, because you're going to have to answer this question before I listen to anything you have to say. So are you ready to answer the question? Are you?
You're being rude. Is what
I don't give a rat's ass. I don't give a rat's ass if you think I'm being rude. Now, you have a chance to answer this question, and then if you don't answer it now, we're going to take a little brief break, and you're going to have a chance to think about it and then answer the question. Do you want to answer it now?
You have the audacity.
All right. I'll tell you what. You think about this for a second. I'll come back and ask you the question again. She hang up?
If you'd like to make a...
Bitch. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Levy on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Tom, I am on the air.
Yes, you are.
Well, my ex called me this weekend, and she's always said I'm her soulmate. And she called me. She's been married for 3 years. And me and her were together for like 7, 8 years. I mean, crazy, but that's another story. But anyways, she called me this weekend and told me how her relationship with her husband now is nothing like the one that we had. She has to take care of his kids and pay for their dental bills and all this stuff. Now, Tom, she loves your show. She's been watching your show even when I didn't like you, and I love you now. You're my professor.
Love that.
And, wow, it was crazy. She called me, and she's telling me all this stuff about how our relationship was so much deeper than the one she has now. And, well, she had really bad, like, panic attacks. And, like, I used to hold her all night, like, take care of her, you know, be a good guy, you know. And it's crazy. They got married about a month and a half after me and her had sex, which is just nuts. But she took off behind my back and went and did it. And then we just stopped talking. But it was kind of weird. It's kind of hard to get through, but I got over it, you know. 3 years ago, you know, of course I got over it. And well, yeah, she called me, and it's totally messed me up. And I told her, look, why'd you call and tell me all this? You know, I told her, look, you need to stand up for what you did, you know, and you need to be a woman and, you know, stick up for your responsibility. It's your responsibility now. She's married, you know. She signed a contract.
Well, that's the deal. And that it shows you how little integrity she has to marry somebody else than call you and call you her soulmate.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, I totally we met we saw each other 2 weeks ago at a bar, and we have a mutual friend that came down from Seattle. And I met one of her friends and totally fell for her friend. And her husband were both telling me, go for my friend, go for my friend. And now she, me and her friend totally hit it off. We've talked, hung out over the weekend. But now her friend doesn't want to talk to me anymore because she wants that control. Because she sees that I like her. Her friend is totally flipping out.
Unbelievable.
Can we call her on three-way?
Well, we can if you want to. What do you want to say?
I want you to talk to her.
What do you want me to talk to her about? Tell her how she has no integrity?
Well, Tom, she listens to your show. She's been listening to your show forever. I told her, like, last week, I was like, look, what you did wasn't even, you know, what would Tom do? You know?
Yeah, well, first of all, why? If you're the soulmate, why'd she marry him?
Well, exactly.
I mean, if she'd talk to me, I'd talk to her, but we don't have a lot of time left. Can we reach her quickly?
I don't know if she's available, but we can try.
All right, let's see. Somehow I'm suspicious of this whole thing. Sarah on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom. How
are you? Good.
Okay. I know that your show is for men. You know, that's who your target audience is. But why is it, like, such a crime for a woman to do it when men...
To do what?
to be fooling around on their husbands.
I don't recommend that men fool around their wives either. I recommend that men not get married.
Yeah, but you don't seem to mind too much.
No, you are exactly wrong. You are exactly wrong. I have told men and women on this show, if you're gonna get married, don't, bringing third people into the bedroom, no cheating. So don't be telling me that I don't mind when people cheat. That's exactly wrong. I say the exact opposite.
You don't come down on men the way you do come down on women.
Dear, I'm a man.
Okay.
I am a man.
I got that much.
If you want to see people coming down on men, turn on television. There's one talk show after another coming down on men. Go there.
Lame talk shows, and there's just as many talk shows.
Well, that's that's the kind of talk shows women like. Lame talk shows.
Some women.
Well, most women.
All right, Tom. Thanks for nothing. Have a good day.
Well, thanks for nothing too. Feeling is mutual. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Jim on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm okay, son.
Hey, long time, first time.
Thank you.
Hey, I'll tell you, I was the poor schmuck on the receiving end of this story. Some time ago, was dating this girl, ended up getting married, married for 8 years, 2 kids, thought things were going great, started suspecting something was going on when she was telling me she's going out with her girlfriends. And then a little bit later, that girlfriend calls me with each other. He's the guy that I want. We've got so much in common. We ended up getting a divorce. I get raked over the coals, and that's the same thing that's going to happen to this poor schmuck. He's out there busting his hump, providing for his family, working hard, being the man and the father he's supposed to be. This bitch is out screwing around on him, and when he goes to court, he's going to get raped over the coals. Child support, alimony, the whole 9 yards. So I know exactly where he's coming from, and I feel for him.
And this is why I tell the guys not to get married. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yep. I agree with you, Tom, 100%.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Tom. Bye-bye.
Tristan on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
How you doing? You know what? I can't stand listening to these people that call into your show, especially those last couple people. You had that woman that wouldn't let you wouldn't let her get a word in. I worship every word that you say, day in and day out.
Thank you for that.
And I can't stress that enough. And I feel for these guys who just sit there and get, walked on by their girls, and it's pitiful. I mean, I can't. You should even take a look at my. I don't know. It's just I feel for these guys. It's terrible, but I just want to let you know I listen to you every day.
I really appreciate it, Tristan. Thank you.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Doing great.
How you doing? You know what? I can't stand listening to these people that call into your show, especially those last couple people. You had that woman that wouldn't let you wouldn't let her get a word in. I worship every word that you say, day in and day out.
Thank you for that.
And I can't stress that enough. And I feel for these guys who just sit there and get, walked on by their girls, and it's pitiful. I mean, I can't. You should even take a look at my. I don't know. It's just I feel for these guys. It's terrible, but I just want to let you know I listen to you every day.
I really appreciate it, Tristan. Thank you.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.